Old.
After looking at that.
Presenting next is Tiffany Grassmuck. She is a graduate student of art history at the University of North Texas. She also holds a Master of Historic Preservation from the University of Georgia and a Bachelor of Arts from the University of the South. Her current areas of study include architecture and contemporary art. Tiffany is a teaching assistant at UNT, was awarded a curatorial internship at the Nasher Sculpture Center last summer, and serves on the Public Arts Committee for the new arts building under construction now at UNT. Please welcome Tiffany Grassmuck.
Okay. Hi. The paper I'm presenting today is actually a shortened version of my master's thesis. And I changed my title from what you have on the paper. I'm now calling it Legitimizing a Cosmopolitan Image, Reshaping the Urban Landscape with the Dallas Arts District. In the heart of downtown Dallas, spread across 19 blocks and 68 acres, is the Dallas Arts District, the largest in the United States. Developed over a 30-year period, it compiles clusters of cultural institutions and open plazas designed by international star architects and oriented along a single-axis Flora Street. Examples of these buildings are the Dallas Museum. There it is, sorry. Dallas Museum of Art, designed by Edward Larrabee Barnes in 1984. The Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Hall, designed by I.M. Pei in 1989. And the Nasher Sculpture Center, designed by Renzo Piano in 2003. These buildings, diverse in style, are connected by Flora Street, which retains a consistent design over 6 blocks. Designed with gray landscape pavers in a herringbone pattern, they extend to the district's sidewalks made of gray granite pavers, giving the street and the sidewalk a seamless appearance. A collection of 18 buildings, the Dallas Arts District includes buildings that themselves are works of art, historic buildings, residences, and retail. This concentrated district offers an elegant attraction for residents and visitors alike, so they can visit the city's premier museums and performing arts venues. However, it took quite a while to get to this spot, and I am focusing on what happened in the beginning and including other factors besides design to see why the Arts District ended up the way it did. So starting in the mid-1970s, the cultural arts institutions are located in Fair Park, where the State Fair is held each year. During this decade, businesses flourished downtown. Desegregation led to economic decline in South Dallas, and subsequent white flight leads to economic growth in the suburbs. Each of these activities mark the urban landscape. Downtown skyline expands with new buildings. The suburbs house popular shopping malls and new neighborhoods, while South Dallas neighborhoods suffer from highways cutting through them, non-existent new building, and further encroachment by a Fair Park expansion into adjacent neighborhoods. In the midst of this landscape of wealth and poverty, the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts, the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, and other cultural institutions housed in Fair Park are located in decaying South Dallas. Attached to this urban landscape that makes up Dallas's identity as a city is the violent shadow left by President Kennedy's assassination in the previous decade. This portrait of 1970s Dallas and the dual issues of the negative association with President Kennedy's assassination and the cultural arts institutions located in dislocated South Dallas present a crisis of image for the city. City officials must change this image into a cosmopolitan one for the 7th largest United States city. In 1976, coffee table book of photographs and essays called The Book of Dallas acknowledges the city of hate image from the assassination, then launches into essays on positive images of the city, including business, people, symbols, education, religion, art, sports, and the state fair. As a promotional tool, the book conveys a positive image through mass media publication. City government responds to Dallas's image problems by importing urban planners and architects from New England and New York to solve the crisis of the city's cultural arts institutions located in an area of urban blight. These planners and architects changed Dallas' urban landscape for the arts. Especially significant to this reshaping of the urban landscape is the period of 1976 through 1989, when Dallas officials hired the planning firm Carr Lynch Associates from Cambridge, Massachusetts, through the completion of the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Center opening. Primary sources, postmodern architectural theory, and modern histories of Dallas attest to the fact that monumental notable buildings represent an image for the inhabitant and the city. Each city has a legible reading through the built environment for the city's image. Histories of Dallas's development document the city's aversion to provincial architecture for arts buildings, instead opting for prominent planners and architects with valued reputations to create this image. Kevin Lynch's Image of the City and Robert Venturi's Learning from Las Vegas are exceptional resources of postmodern architectural theories applicable to the Dallas Arts District. Histories of Dallas attest that race, architecture, special districts, and tragedy shaped Dallas's urban landscape. Until now, there has been no historical contextual analysis of the Dallas Arts District, only individual studies of star architect design, individual elements. Most importantly, no one has addressed this study as a response to Dallas's crisis of image in the 1970s. I would suggest that an alternative approach to this lacuna would be an analysis that considers postmodern architectural theory and urban planning of the arts. This paper on urban history and postmodern architectural analysis considers first, the history of Dallas's cultural institutions' locations. Second, the urban history of South Dallas. Third, the crisis of Dallas' national image. Fourth, the comprehensive plans for the Dallas cultural institutions. And finally, the architecture of the first two buildings in the Dallas Arts District. I argue, in the wake of past tragedy and urban blight, the city of Dallas reshapes the urban landscape with comprehensive plans and architecture to create the Dallas Arts District as status emblem to shape Dallas's identity into a cosmopolitan city in the 1970s and 1980s. History of Fair Park, home to Dallas's cultural institutions. Fair Park was home to the State Fair when Dallas was selected to house the Texas Centennial Exposition in 1936. The event commemorates the 100th anniversary of Texas independence from Mexico and became a national event when President Franklin D. Roosevelt authorized its national funding with House Joint Resolution 293. The Centennial Exposition is important because it provides the first permanent buildings and location of the Art Museum and Symphony. The historical development of the cultural arts in Fair Park is key to the creation of the Dallas Arts District moving to downtown. George Dahl creates a site plan for the 1936 Centennial, dividing the areas by use. The area that I am most concerned with is there's this lagoon, and this is Dallas, the Museum of Fine Arts, and the Museum of Natural History. But these are the cultural institutions here planned around this lagoon. The cultural areas include permanent buildings for the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts, the Aquarium, and the Natural History Museum clustered around the lagoon. Buildings are designed by Chicago architects associated with the Chicago Century of Progress Exposition of 1933, using Chicago architects gives prestige to the fair buildings. Although the museum and symphony buildings are located in the preeminent location of 1936 Dallas, which is Fair Park, from the beginning, the cultural institutions encounter complication of space and location in Fair Park. Looking closely at the plot map of the fairgrounds, the cultural buildings are adjacent to the Ford Building, right here, and the Midway, here. The confluence of popular fair culture and highbrow arts culture increasingly exists at odds through history. This tension eventually leads to moving the arts institutions out of Fair Park. History of South Dallas. Winning the Centennial, Dallas secures a permanent location for its cultural institutions. However, changes in the neighborhood strains the cosmopolitan image that the arts seek. The historic trajectory occurs from desegregation, white flight, and highway construction, resulting in total dislocation by 1975. A housing shortage for African Americans leads to this minority group finding housing in South Dallas white neighborhoods where housing becomes available. During a time of redlining, housing in Dallas is segregated. Upon moving to South Dallas, African American buyers suffer from bombings of their houses in the 1940s and 1950s. Despite the violent bombings, African American residents choose to stay, while white residents begin to move from South Dallas to the North Dallas suburbs. White flight and racial conflict in South Dallas opened the door for highway construction in a disenfranchised area. 1960s desegregation changes the racial and socioeconomic makeup of South Dallas, while construction of R.L. Thornton Freeway and Fair Park expansion reshaped the urban landscape. Desegregation of Dallas Independent School District further exacerbates race conflicts. By 1970, 100,000 white residents leave South Dallas for relocation to the suburbs in North Dallas. Most leave after 1968. With desegregation and more schools, economic growth stops, and in this post-assassination era, South Dallas becomes the slum area of Dallas, according to white leaders. As the neighborhoods outside Fair Park experience a wide-scale change in residents, inside the park, the State Fair of Texas image changes in character and distracted from a cosmopolitan image for the city's arts institutions. The State Fair increasingly adopts a more carnival atmosphere represented by the 1952 edition of Big Tex. A 55-foot talking cowboy wearing size 70 boots and a 75-gallon hat. Big Tex becomes the symbol of the fair. Featured in mass media popular culture, whereas the Centennial Exposition focused on buildings and the site as a whole, this 1950s interpretation of the fair focuses on the Midway and agriculture, showing little of the cultural institutions. In contrast to the positive associations between the cultural institutions and the State Fair during the Centennial, the mid-century atmosphere becomes inconsistent with the cosmopolitan image of the cultural institutions. Crisis for Dallas. President John F. Kennedy's assassination on November 22, 1963, leaves Dallas with a national image of violence and hate. By 1975, its negative image remains and is coupled with the crisis of the city's cultural institutions located inside a fairground surrounded by the slum. 1970s mass media popular culture responses to the assassination image shows through promotion of the winning Dallas Cowboys football team and the national television show Dallas. However, the city of Dallas and 9 cultural arts institutions make plans for relocation outside Fair Park. By 1975, the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts and the Dallas Symphony Orchestra have committees looking for new locations. City officials respond to the crisis in 3 ways. Response to crisis, Plan 1. Formative to reshaping Dallas's urban landscape as a response to the crisis of image. 9 cultural institutions and the mayor of Dallas hired Carr, Lynch Associates of Cambridge, Massachusetts, a Northeast planning firm to tell them how to arrange the arts in Dallas. This hire represents status from a northeastern city and expertise on creating a cosmopolitan image for Dallas by moving the cultural institutions out of Fair Park. Similar to George Dahl using Chicago exposition designers to design Fair Park in 1936, the city and prominent leaders of the museum and symphony used Northeast planners to plan the Dallas Arts District. Carr Lynch recommends relocating the city's cultural institutions to a single location in downtown Dallas. For analysis of this plan, I concentrate on Dallas's most prominent cultural institutions, the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts and the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. These institutions cite inadequate space and the association with the state fair is the reasons that they want to move. The map of existing arts facilities is the first step in finding a new location for the museum and symphony and places downtown in the center of the study area. So you can see Fair Park has most of the institutions. There's some in Turtle Creek and north in Oaklawn, but they've centered where they wanted to go in downtown. Once the decision is made to move cultural institutions downtown, a large amount of acreage is needed to house the arts district. Based on a second map, potential downtown locations are mapped on an available acreage of potential downtown sites. The highest concentration of available acreage is in north downtown on both sides of Woodall Rogers Freeway, which is up here. There we go, right here and here. And then Woodall Rogers will make access to the district direct. Situated 5 blocks from the central business district, it is a short walk to downtown businesses. This location is convenient to the North Dallas patrons who think Fair Park is too far to travel to, as stated in the Carr Lynch plan. Not mentioned in the plan, the dislocation of South Dallas is distasteful to the patrons. The first plan defines the boundaries of the district. However, a second plan defines the district's connective tissue and building uses. Response to the crisis, Plan 2. Sasaki Associates, Inc. of Watertown, Massachusetts, prepared a second Dallas Arts District comprehensive plan to cement the visual idea, boundaries, and sequence for development by focusing on the museum and symphony as the first 2 cultural institutions to relocate to the Dallas Arts District. The second plan creates a detailed cultural image based on downtown Dallas by physically integrating the positive business image of Dallas with the museum and symphony by putting the district right in downtown. And this, it's hard to see the dotted line, but so there's downtown, and then here is the arts district is in this area, and there is a dotted line. It's really weak. The second plan provides in detail the district's visual presentation, bounded by St. Paul Street, Woodall Rogers, Central Expressway, and Ross Avenue. The landscape and building master plans integrate office buildings with retail, arts buildings with retail, office, and restaurant buildings. The Dallas Arts District Urban Design Plan notes this high-rise development will surround the Dallas Arts District to integrate it physically and visually into the area perceived as downtown. This integration is key for a cosmopolitan image. Sasaki Associates divides the district into 3 parts. Museum Crossing, Concert Lights, and Fountain Plaza. Museum Crossing centers on the museum. Concert Lights highlights the Symphony Hall, and Fountain Plaza forms the eastern terminus along the central axis of Flora Street. This image also divides the district into 3 phases for completion. Phase 1 is the museum complex. Phase 2 is the Trammell Crow building, and Phase 3 is completion of the Symphony Hall, lasting from 1980 to 1989. Response to the crisis of architects. In the 1970s, city leaders began a building campaign to elevate the built environment with important architectural projects downtown. Nationally known architects I.M. Pei and Philip Johnson are hired to design a new city hall, just there, the Kennedy Memorial, and Thanksgiving Square. Building and improving municipal institutions with architecture is a way for Dallas to raise itself in the socio-cultural world and create a cosmopolitan image. This method for image making through architecture is continued in the Dallas Arts District by hiring Edward Larrabee Barnes to design the Dallas Museum of Art and I.M. Pei to design the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Center. The Dallas Museum of Art's smooth limestone exterior gives a smooth, modern geometric shape with 3 stacked levels. The massing of the building creates a monumental structure signifying the importance of the city's art museum and art collection. The main entrance opens to Flora Street, connecting it with the Arts District. The Symphony Center continues the orientation toward the Dallas, by opening to Flora Street, and has an orientation towards the Dallas Museum of Art, responding to the surroundings of the Arts District. The curved glass ceiling walls create a naturally lit interior, and complicated geometric shape break out of the acoustic rectangle shape, creating a dynamic and unusual building for the Arts District. With the completion of the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Hall, the Dallas Arts District has 2 notable buildings by New York-based architects. Their status and Northeast design standard raises the city's socio-culture status. In conclusion, the crisis of image stemming from Dallas's reputation as a city of hate, following President Kennedy's assassination and the museum and symphony housed in inadequate buildings located inside a carnival in an area of urban plight, compelled the city of Dallas to improve its cultural arts institutions. Dallas's responses to these crises were informed by a combination of factors: history, envy of major U.S. cities outside Texas, and need of a positive cultural image shape this image of Dallas in the 1970s and 80s. Historic trajectories of violence, desegregation, and urban decay are complex sociocultural factors of mid-century racism visually evident in South Dallas. These complex historic trajectories push the arts to the elite majority white and financially successful downtown. Downtown represents success and sophistication by housing, banking, and other industries, whereas South Dallas represents decay, dislocation, disenfranchisement, and the annual State Fair of Texas. Both the arts institutions and the city of Dallas wanted an association with success in a location approved by their patrons. Hiring design experts from Boston and New York to develop comprehensive plans for the city's cultural arts institutions brings these cosmopolitan cities' design ideas and history to Dallas in the form of comprehensive plans for the Dallas Arts District and architectural designs for the Dallas Museum of Art and Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Center. These plans stamp Dallas with approval and status in major cities. By using these experts, Dallas will find an approved image for its cultural arts to equalize Dallas' status with New York and Boston. The creation of the Dallas Arts District and the relocation of the museum and symphony reshapes the urban landscape into an arts landscape. Moving the cultural arts makes the individual institutions more prominent while offering a cosmopolitan arts image to replace or counter the images of a violent and decaying city. Thank you. And this last slide is before the museum is built, that cleared place of land on the left is where the museum is going to go. And then the image on the right, again, is what it looks like now. Are there any questions?
I don't know if this is so much a question, but very interesting. And I lived in Dallas for 17 years, and I saw all this happen. I mean, I went to Symphony and Fair Park, and I you know, and now with the covering over of the Woodall Rogers in the park, you know, it is such a pleasant place to go. But I think your point about moving these out of Fair Park, which is really moving them out of the African American neighborhoods, right, because of the fear of the suburban whites to come to that area, is really interesting in contrast to what they've built, which is an area that's, you know, now comfortable for the, you know, and the one little vestige of a place where you have diversity is actually in the Arts Magnet there, because the Arts Magnet does bring in, so instead of, you know, this culture being surrounded by, you know, the decaying and scary, you know, neighborhoods with people of color, now you have this little enclave of diversity in the midst of this pristine, you know, kind of urban landscape that's acceptable for the suburban people to come and feel safe. It's really interesting. Sorry, suburban people. I was one of them, but it's really true.
Can you contextualize these photos for me?
Sure. They are not facing the same direction, so it's kind of a little hard to see. Okay. So, Woodall Rogers is under construction, so it kind of doesn't look like a regular highway yet, but these are the bridges over Woodall Rogers, so it's kind of hard to see, but this is the beginning of, you know, the highway goes down, if you've ever driven on that. This is the whole site for the Dallas Museum of Art. This is where the Nasher Sculpture Center stands right now. This is where that awful museum tower is. If y'all have heard about that story, it's this building that reflects all the light down here to the Nasher, messes up their outside. So the Arts District really, in this picture, would start here and go that way. So we don't see very much, but it was really a good visual for kind of what it looked like. So this was also an area, maybe not of urban blight because it had already been like kind of leveled, but ready for redevelopment. So like this whole area kind of looks like this, all the way down. So in this picture, here's the Dallas Museum of Art. Oh yeah, and so Woodall Rogers is here because that's the park on top of it, but it's kind of hard to see. The Nasher, the Trammell Crow building, that museum tower, that's the Symphony, and then the Windsphere, the Wiley Theater right there, that's the Magnet building, and that's Strauss Square. So this is like it all filled in after they did the redevelopments. But, you know, this process took from 1977 to 2009. And I'm still finding out what the new plans are. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of that in my thesis about what's coming next, because they're about to start another plan for the Dallas Arts District.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, yes.
Maybe you already mentioned this, but the former structures, the ones in Fair Park,
Yes.
are they still existing, and if so, what's happening with those today?
Okay, so the museum building turned into the history, or the Natural History Museum before it moved to be the Perot building. And they still use it for, it's not open all the time, but it's still the Natural History Museum part. I guess they have some things over there. The aquarium from 1936 is still there. When it was built in 1936, they said it was the largest one. And it is so tiny, but it's really cute. It's still there. And, you know, I think that one of those buildings became the Botanical Center.
Is Science Place still there?
The
or
Science Place must be one of them too.
think
Yeah, you know, I was wondering about that. I'm just kind of worried about my buildings, but I probably should know what these ones are.
kind of have another curiosity. Just finally come to some type of amicable, or was there always this kind of resentful feeling that it had moved, or how did they resolve that, or is it still kind of?
I think it's still goes on, because there's also what do you do with Fair Park? And there's a big study right now on what the future of Fair Park is going to be besides the fair. I think that's always been, and then just the cultural institutions leaving, just makes it not as used. But on the other hand, it seems like there's a lot of, like, I don't know if festivals is the right word, but there are things that are held out there. Like recently, the Irish Festival. Yeah. So, but I know there's a big committee right now with historic preservationists and other city, other fields of study represented for Fair Park.